Aconite NAPELLUS, monkshood, a state of fear, anxiety, anguish of mind and body, physical and mental restlessness. Fright is the most characteristic manifestation of aconite. So the most characteristic manifestation of aconite is physical and mental restlessness, and there is a state of fright and anxiety with anguish of body and mind. Acute, sudden, and violent invasion with fever. So an acute, sudden, and violent invasion of fever calls for this remedy. Does not want to be touched. Sudden and great sinking of strength, complaints and tension caused by exposure to dry, cold weather, draught of cold air, check perspiration, also complaints from very hot weather, especially gastrointestinal disturbance. So there is a complaints and tensions which is caused by the exposure of dry, cold weather and lot of cold air. And so complaints are aggravated in cold weather and cold air and not diarrhea, checked perspiration. And also these gastrointestinal disturbance are seen during very hot weather. Is the first remedy in inflammatory fever. Serous membrane and muscular tissues affected markedly. A burning in internal part, tingling, coldness and numbness. Influenza. Tension of arteries, emotional and physical mental tension explains many symptoms. So most of the symptoms of aconite is associated with this mental tensions. It can be physical or emotional. When prescribing aconite, remember aconite causes only functional disturbance. There is no evidence that it can produce tissue change. Its action is brief and show no periodicity. So aconite produces only functional disturbance and there is no periodicity in its action. Its fear is in the beginning of acute disease and not to be continued after pathological changes come. It is usually given during the beginning of acute disease and not in any pathological cases. In hyperemia, congestion, not after exudation has settled. So before exudation in congestion and hyperemia, we can give aconite and in influenza. So aconite, there is a state of fear and anxiety, there is physical and mental restlessness, and there is sudden acute, and it is mostly given for sudden acute fever, and the complaints are aggravated in cold, dry weather, also in very hot weather, and there is coldness and numbness, and there is no periodicity in its symptoms. Now the mental symptoms include great fear, anxiety, and worry accompanying every element. How a trivial, even though it's a trivial symptom, it will be accompanied by anxiety, fear, and worry. Delirium is characterized by unhappiness, worry, fear, raving, rarely unconsciousness, foreboding and fears, fear of death, but believe that he will die soon. Predict the day. So he believes that he will die very soon and he can predict the day he will die. So fear of the future, crowd crossing the street. There is fear of the crowd, fear of the future, fear for crossing the street, restlessness, tossing about, tendency to start, imaginary acute clairvoyance, pain are intolerable, they drive him crazy. So these patients are intolerant to pain. Music is unbearable, which makes her sad. Other remedy is ambergris. So in keynote, there is Sabina for this symptom. That music is unbearable and make her sad. Ambergris and Sabina from the keynote. Thinks his thought comes from the stomach, that parts of his body are abnormally thick. So I have seen this question. Thinks that his thoughts are coming from the stomach and the body parts is abnormally thick. Feels as if what had happened, feels as if what had just been done was a dream. This is also an important symptom. So in mind there is fear and anxiety and worry which accompanies every element. There is foreboding and fear of death, restlessness, fear of future, and music is unbearable which makes us sad. Another remedy is ambergris, and thinks has his thought of all his thoughts are coming from the stomach and the part is abnormally thick, and he feels that what just happened, what just have done, it was just a dream. Head symptom, there is fullness, heavy, pulsating, hot, bursting, burning, undulating sensation, intracranial pressure, a burning headache as if brain were moved by boiling water. It's an important symptom. Burning in head as if brain were moved by boiling water. Vertigo, nausea on raising, other remedies are naxomic and opium, and shaking head. There is vertigo on raising and vertigo on shaking head. Vertigo on raising, aconite, naxomic and opium. Sensation vortex as if hair were pulled or stood on end. Sensation in vortex as if hair was pulled and or stood on end. There is nocturnal furious delirium. So head, there is heavy, hot, bursting, undulating sensation. So there is a particular sensation as if brain were moved by boiling water. Other remedy is indigo. And the vertigo is worse from raising. Other remedy is axonica and opium. And sensation vortex as if the hair were pulled or stood on end. Now the eye symptom. Red flame, feel dry and hot as if sands in them. Lids swollen, hard or red. Aversion to light. Perspiration watery after exposure to dry cold wind. Reflection from snow after extraction of cinders and foreign body. So eye symptoms, eye is red, inflamed. It feels hot and dry as if sand was in them, as if they were sand. So lids are swollen, hard and red in color. There is aversion to light. Then on exposure to dry cold wind, there is profuse lacrimation and reflection from snow after extraction of cinders and other foreign bodies. This is an important symptom, the reflection from snow after extraction of cinders. For that remedy is aconite. The ear symptom. Ear is very sensitive to noise and music is unbearable. External ear is hot, red and painful, swollen. Ear ache. Sensation as if drop of water in left ear. So there is a sensation as a drop of water in the left ear. Nose, smell acutely sensitive, pain at the root of the nose, coryza, much sneezing, throbbing in nostrils, hemorrhage of bright red blood, mucous membrane is dry, hot, stooped up, dry or but with sandy watery coryza. So there is acute sensitiveness to smell, there is pain in the root of the nose, and there is coryza with sneezing. Along with coryza, there is sneezing, the mucous membrane is dry, stopped up, or there will be sandy watery coryza. Just remember there is coryza with sneezing, aconitic coryza with sneezing, throbbing in nostrils. Now the face. Face is red, hot, flushed, swollen. One cheek red, another pale. Other remedies are chamomile and ipecac. On raising, the red face becomes deadly pale, or he becomes dizzy, tingling in cheeks and numbness. Neuralgia, especially on the left side. There is neuralgia on the left side with restlessness, tingling and numbness, pain in jaws. So mouth is numb, dry and tingles. Tongue swollen, tip tingles. Teeth sensitive to cold. Constantly moves the lower jaw as of chewing. So this patient constantly moves the lower jaw as of chewing. Gum hot and inflamed. Tongue is coated white. Another remedy is antimonic root. So coated white tongue can be seen in aconite and antimonic root. And constant moving of the lower jaw as of chewing. Throat red, dry, constricted, numb, pricking, burning, stinging. Tonsils swollen and dry. Stomach, vomiting with fear, heat, profuse sweat, and increased urination. So vomiting with increased urination and profuse sweat. Thirst for cold water. So aconite, thirst for cold water, bitter thirst of everything except water. Except water, every food tastes bitter. There is intense thirst for cold water. Drink, vomit, and declare he will die. Vomit, bilious, mucus, and blood, greenish. Pressure in stomach with dyspnea, hematemesis, burning from stomach to esophagus. Abdomen, hot, sensitive, tympanitis, sensitive to touch, colic, no position relief. Abdominal symptoms better by warm soup. Abdominal symptoms are better by warm soup and the burning in umbilical region. Rectum. So this remember the abdominal symptoms are better by warm soup for aconite. So rectum, pain with nightly itching and thickness. Pain with nightly itching and stitching in anus. Frequent small stool with tenesmus. Green like chopped herbs. Stool green like chopped herbs. White with red urine. Choleric discharge with collapse, anxiety and restlessness, bleeding hemorrhoids, watery diarrhea in children. They cry and complain much and are sleepless at night, restless. So for children, they will have this watery diarrhea. They will cry and complain and are sleepless and restless. Now the urine symptom: scanty red, hot, painful, tenesmus and burning at the neck of bladder, burning in burning urethra, urine suppressed, bloody. Anxiety always on beginning to urinate. There is retention with screaming and restlessness and handling of genitalia. Renal region is sensitive. Profuse urination with profuse perspiration and diarrhea. And in males, there is crawling and stinging in glands, bluish pain in testicles, swollen heart, frequent erection and emission, painful erection. In females, the vagina is dry, hot, sensitive. Menses is too profuse with nosebleed, too protracted and late. So menses with nosebleed and the patient is protracted and it is usually late. Frenzy on appearance of menses, suppressed from fright, cold in plethoric subject. Ovaries congested and painful. There is a sharp shooting pain in the womb after pain with fear and restlessness. Respiratory, there is constant pressure in left chest, oppressive breathing on release movement, hoarse, dry, croupy cough, loud, labored breathing, child grasps the throat every time he coughs, very sensitive to inside air, shortness of breath, larynx sensitive, stitches through the chest, cough is dry, hot and hawking, worse at night and every midnight, hot feeling in the lungs, blood comes up hawking, tingling in the chest after cough. So in respiratory system, there is an oppressed breathing on unreleased movement, hoarse, dry, croupy cough and labored breathing, and the child would grasp his throat every time he coughs, and shortness of breath. And the cough is worse at night and after midnight. So worse at night and after midnight. Heart, tachycardia, affections of the heart with pain in left shoulder. Stitching pain in chest, palpitation with anxiety, fainting and tingling in fingers. Pulse full, hard and tense and bounding, sometimes intermittent. So the pulse is full, hard, tense and bounding pulse and intermittent. So bounding, intermittent, full, hard pulse. Temporal and carotid arteries felt when sitting. The back symptoms: it is numb, stiff, painful, crawling and tingling as a bruise, stiffness in the nape of the neck, and bluish between the scapula. Extremities: numbness and tingling, shooting pain, icy coldness, and insensible to hand and feet. Arms feel lame, bluish, heavy, numb, pain down the left arm. So pain down the left arm, the other remedies are cactus, crotal, calmia, and tabacum. Hot hand and cold feet. The rheumatic inflammation of joint, worse at night, red, shiny, swelling, and very sensitive. So there is numbness and tingling in extremities, and hands are hot and cold feet. And in rheumatism, there is inflammation of joints, and it is worse at night. And the affected joint will be red, shiny, swelling. It is very sensitive. Hip joint and thighs feel lame, especially when lying down. Knee is unsteady, disposition to foot to turn. Ischius hypocastana, weak and lax ligament of all joints. So there is weak and lax ligament of all joints, weakness of all joint ligaments, painless crackling in all joints, bright red hypothenar eminence of both hands. So in aconite, the hypothenar eminence of the both hands will be very red. Sensation as a drop of water trickle down the thigh. So remember, in extremities there is numbness and tingling sensation. There is pain in the left arm and rheumatism. Rheumatism where the joint is red, swollen, and it is very sensitive, and the pain is aggravated at night. And there is a disposition to turn the foot and the joints. So in joints there is weakness of joints and lax ligaments. The hypothenar muscles of both hands are very red. Sleep, nightmare, nightly craving, anxious dream, sleeplessness with restlessness and tossing about. For this, 30 potency is given. That is, for sleeplessness with restlessness and tossing, 30 potency is given. Starts up in sleep, long dream with anxiety in the chest, insomnia in aged. So anxious sleep are the nightmares and anxious sleep. For skin, red, hot, swollen, dry, burning, purpura miliaris, rash-like measles, goose flesh, formication and numbness, chilliness and formication down back, a pruritus relieved by stimulants. So there's purpura miliaris, measles like rash, and the pruritus is relieved by stimulants. So fever, cold stage is marked in case of aconite, cold, sweat, icy coldness of face, coldness and heat alternate, evening chilliness soon after going to bed, cold waves passes through him, thirst, restlessness always, thirst and restlessness is always present, chilly if uncovered or touched, dry, hot, red face, most vulnerable, most valuable febrifuge with mental anguish, restlessness, etc. Sweat, drenching on parts lain on, relieve all symptoms. So in case of fever, so aconite is given for acute fevers. Here the cold stages will be predominant with cold sweat and icy coldness of face. Along with this, there will be thirst and restlessness, and chilly if uncovered or touched. So patient has to be covered, or he will feel chilly. And there is sweat drenching on part. So the part on which he is lying down, there will be much profuse sweating, which relieves the symptoms. So sweating actually relieves the symptoms. Modalities: better in open air, worse in warm room in evening and night. So better in open air, symptoms are worse in warm room evening and at night, and worse in lying on the affected side, worse from music, from tobacco smoke, dry cold wind. Vinegar in large dose is antidotal to poisonous effect. So poisonous effect of aconite can be antidoted by vinegar. Now the relationship: acid, wine and coffee, lemonade, and acid fruits modify its action. So its action of the aconite can be modified by acids, wine, coffee, and lemonade, and also by acid fruit. It is not indicated in malarial and low fevers of hectic or pyemic condition, and in inflammation where they localize themselves. Sulfur often follows it, compared to chamomilla and coffee in intense pain and sleeplessness. So aconite is not given in malaria cases and also in low-grade fevers and in pyemic conditions where inflammation tends to localize. So it is followed by sulfur in almost every cases. And to sleeplessness, aconite is compared to for sleeplessness and pain, aconite is compared to chamomilla and coffee. So the complementary is coffee and sulfur. Sulfur may be considered as a chronic of aconite. Often complement a cure begins with sulfur. So aconite. So sulfur is a chronic complement of aconite. And it is compared to belladonna, chamomilla, coffee, ferrum, and phosphorus. So now the dose: sixth potency to sensory affection. First to third for congestive condition must be repeated frequently in acute disease. Okay, in acute disease we can repeat aconite. Aconite is a rapid worker. In neuralgia, tincture of the root often preferred. So in neuralgia cases, the tincture is preferred. One drop dose, or again the 30 according to the susceptibility of the patient. So for sensory affection, sixth potency, and for neuralgia we can give its tincture or 13 potency based on the susceptibility of the patient.